Bryan, would you like to explain to the lovely viewers why we're late?
My fault, folks. Technical issues with my computer. I've been sitting here since 12 o'clock, and yeah, I'm sorry about this.
See, there you go. See, just so I don't get the blame, that's all.
No, it's not your fault today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Afternoon Rabble here on the Rangers Rabble podcast. The season may be done, but we are not. We are not going anywhere. Even if I have to just start making stuff up, I will do it throughout the off season. Doesn't bother me. I'm happy to start some rumours. Bryan, how are you?
Not bad, fact. Not bad. An indifferent weekend, wasn't it? It was just much and such the same. Much what we've feared and almost what we've expected. So it's probably glad we're all glad now that the season's over and that we can actually move forward and look to brighter and better things on the horizon.
We're glad the season's over, but we're not desperate for it to start again, Bryan.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely
You're not.
There's so much work to do. There's just it's quite ridiculous how much stuff's got to get done before we even think about pre-season. There's managerial positions. There's players got to leave. There's players got to come in. It's an alarming situation we're in, and it's things have got to move very, very quickly in the next few sort of couple of weeks even.
By the way, even though you were late, I'm still getting the blame.
No, it wasn't Martin's fault. It was mine.
Bryan, and how many years you've been doing this now? What's this, 3 years?
Yeah, no, good few, yeah, 4 maybe.
Yeah. Have I ever been a manager?
No, not particularly, no. You've been fair.
No, being the word manager is not in my lexicon, I don't think. I'm the biggest softie in the world. Bryan, you're getting some stick for your hair.
I know, it's all over the place. Well, I got it cut the weekend, so yeah, I got it scalped quite badly, so it was nice weather. I thought, right, get it scalped, but no, it's not good.
Well, multiple man's been very kind for a change, so don't know what's going on here, but season over, so I suppose it's only correct we say a big thanks to the Rabble lads. What an effort in trying times. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, but it's not really us as people. We wouldn't be here, Bryan, if people didn't tune in to watch.
Well, this is it. Absolutely. You know, we're here to try and bring a bit of sanity to the situation, because let's be honest, it's been extremely trying this season, and I'm afraid that it's been very difficult to try and put a brave face on what has been a bit of a shambolic season.
Right, right. We're going to deal with this now, and then we're going to move past it, folks. Right, because Bryan's not in the. What's going on, Bryan? What's going on?
Honestly, I don't know what it is with my technology today. It's just all over the place.
You've come back.
It could be my internet for a change.
You've actually came back into StreamYard on your phone.
Well, I've been using a tablet because it's so bad, so I'm going to go on another one.
Right, Bryan, you need to come out your tablet. Jeez, you need to come out of one of them, because that is horrendous. So either come off the laptop or come off the tablet. Right. Are you back with us?
Is that
Bryan?
better?
No, you need to come out of StreamYard on one of them, Bryan. What is going on?
I think that's it now.
Right, I've kicked the other one. What is going on, Bryan? He's having an absolute mare. Is that any better? Right, are you back in the land of living? Can you hear us, Bryan?
Is that better?
Can you hear me, Bryan?
Yes, I can.
Right, that's better. Bryan's new shirt arrives and everything goes wrong.
Honestly, terrible. It only arrived first thing this morning as well.
Yes. Well, anyways, listen, enough with that. Let's chat some Rangers, Bryan, before you end up ending the show. Is this the Benny Hill show? Yes, it is.
Sorry about this. Honestly, it's my laptop's been. As I say, I've been sitting here since 12 o'clock this morning trying to get this thing going, and it's pretty apparent that I probably need a new one.
Bryan's due wreck in the living room. Right, okay, Bryan, let's get into some Rangers talk. shall we? Rangers announced it yesterday. Massive thank you to Barry Ferguson and his coaching staff. There's rumours going about that he was interviewed for the job, Brian. I don't know how true they are. But however, he's not going to be the Rangers manager moving forward. I think 99.9% of us knew that. Before we get into his time as manager, I think it's only fair that each and every single Rangers fan says thank you.
Absolutely. He answered the call when the club really needed him. I don't think he envisaged ever getting the chance to be the interim manager. And, he stepped up when he was needed. I think it's been quite apparent since he's been there, though, that I would suggest it's not. You could kind of say it's. I don't think it's the managers that's been the issue now. I think it's quite clear. I think Pep Guardiola or Sir Alex Ferguson could have went in instead of Barry and still not made a better job of things. I think it's quite apparent that the players have sadly let managers, coaching staff, and players down for a long time now, and I think it's desperately disappointing to sort of come to that conclusion. But unfortunately, there's no other way to look at it. You can't. It's desperately horrible to think that players that you want to do well and see well, and just not turn up. As I say, we could have had the best manager in the world since Clement left, and things wouldn't be any better. And I'm afraid that's purely down to the players. They're just simply either not good enough or their heart's just not in it. And that's horrible as a fan base to sort of come to that conclusion, because you want everybody to do well that plays in a Rangers shirt. That's just the bottom line. But I'm afraid it's just been woeful this year. I mean, they've turned up when it's been Europe. They've turned up against Celtic, but that games you shouldn't have to get up for. But it's been the run-of-the-mill games that we've been really bad this season. I think it's been, it's all there in black and white. You can look at all the league tables. You can look at all the results. It's been the games that we should be winning that we've been very, very poor in. And it's almost going to be a case of who's going to be left rather than, it's going to be a major clear out. I mean, I don't know what manager is going to come in. There's maybe a handful of players in that squad just now that you would say, right, we can keep these guys. I can get something out of these guys. But the vast majority of the squad are just simply not good enough.
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking on some kind of, I don't know if you want to call it breaking news, but I was just having a look. Brian, I'm hearing and I'm looking. Yes, Conor Barron has been called up to the Scotland squad. The only, from what I can see, not John Souttar as well.
John Souttar
as well. Apologies.
Kelly,
no. Angus Gunn, Robbie McCrory, and I think is it Kieran Slicker, Ipswich. I think he's the other goalkeeper.
I'll take your word for that.
I believe so. I mean, it says Angus Gunn, Robbie McCrory, and then Kieran Slicker under them. So I'd imagine he's the third goalkeeper. I've never heard of the guy in my life, but I'd imagine that he is. But John Souttar aside, because John Souttar's in that Scotland team quite a lot, I'm delighted for Conor Barron, Brian, and I think his end-of-season performances have maybe caught Steve Clarke's eye.
Yes, I think Conor Barron was obviously out of the squad for a good while because I think he was injured and his form had dipped a little bit. But since he's come back in, I think you can say the same for Raskin. I think Raskin and Barron's performances towards the end of the season have been very good, and I think you can put that down to Barry. That was Barry's position, centre midfield, and I think he's had a big influence on the pair of them. I think Raskin's had the biggest influence. I mean, he's been like a man possessed since Barry's come in. I think Barry's been leaning on him as his guy because he sees a lot in him, and it's been nice to see Barron sort of tagging along in that as well, because I think Barron didn't obviously start initially under Barry, but I think Barry sees something in him in as well, and he's responded. And that's the thing, we want guys to respond to challenges. We want guys to respond to when a manager gives them a challenge. And unfortunately, there's just so many situations where guys just aren't mentally tough enough, I don't think. But Raskin's definitely a guy that you can hang your hat on and say, right, he knows what it's all about, and he responds to a challenge. Because I think it's quite well known that everybody sees him as the sort of captain in waiting going forward now. I don't think it's a surprise when Raskin was captain for that short period at the start when Tavernier was out. I think the team responded. I think he responded, and we were playing really well. And I think he's a great influence in that squad. So yeah, it's no surprise that those two have done well, and well done to Conor Barron. It's a good reward for the end of the season.
Just quickly on Barron, just before I go there, please do like, share, and subscribe, as we are now exclusive to YouTube. We do put clips up on socials and stuff like that, but we're trying to build the YouTube over the close season. We're trying to keep as many people interested in the podcast, obviously, and Rangers as possible. We'll have as many breaking news shows as needed. We'll have watch-alongs. We're doing a watch-along on Wednesday for the Europa League final. We'll maybe look into the Scotland games. I know we're going to do the Premiership playoff final watch-along. And, of course, we'll be reporting everything Rangers along with the afternoon rabbles, Monday to Friday. All your members' content is staying where it is. Your Monday night and your Friday night shows. Myself and David Edgar are on Wednesday night at 6:30 before the Europa League watch-along. So, yeah, please do like, share, and subscribe, as it is hunters and hunters and hunters of content coming your way. Just before we go back to Barry, though, I want to stay on Conor Barron, Bryan, for 2 minutes. Has he shown with his early form, and then he dipped, but has he shown with his end of season form that actually that midfield area, Raskin and Dio, and obviously Lyle Cameron's coming in, who we'll touch on as well, but just focusing on Barron, has he shown that he can be part of this Rangers team moving forward, that he can be part of a winning, I'll try that again, winning Rangers team?
He's certainly got the ability to contribute. I think he's... Because everybody screams that he hasn't scored enough or done that. I don't think that's his job. I don't think that's ever been his sort of role in a team. I think he's a terrier of the midfield. He's like the Stuart McCall type sort of midfielder, I would say. He breaks things up and moves things on to other people who, do the damage. I think he's in there as a Stuart McCall type player, as I say. He's not I don't think Barron was ever known for goal scoring when he was at Aberdeen. I just don't think that's his game. So I think he's more in there just to win the ball and move it on to other people. It's so exciting. I mean, Cameron is a lot of people have seen yesterday, scored 2 goals for Dundee yesterday, kept them up. I think he's the one that's exciting that's coming in that midfield. I mean, as you say, we've got Diomande, we've got Barron, we've got Raskin. So when you throw Cameron into that mix, it brings a different dimension because he's a goal-scoring midfielder. His first goal yesterday was a tremendous finish. Stood the full back up and pinged it in the bottom corner. So it was a really good finish. So he's the exciting one, I think, that's going to be in that midfield next year. He's the one that's going to be the goal threat, I think. As I say, I just don't think Barron's been I don't think he's ever been a goal-scoring type of midfielder, so it's going to be really exciting to see Cameron thrown in with those two.
Yeah, and along with Raskin and Dio as well, it'll be very, very interesting. We'll come back to Lyle Cameron. I want to go back to Barry just quickly. And you mentioned it there. Look, and in fact, I hope I shared the saved the comment. Hey, Sandy, channel member. Ship wasn't sinking when Barry came on board. It was already sunk, but some great results to remember. Yeah. Not that it matters too much now, Bryan, but Barry's tenure as coach, did it go as well, do you think, as it could have? Could Barry have done any more? Could Barry be sitting in a position right now where he could be genuinely in the running for the Rangers job, or do you think that this squad was too far gone?
I think the last bit you said there is probably the right answer. I think this squad was far too gone. I just don't think enough of them were either A, interested, or B, good enough. Simple as that. As I say, I genuinely don't think if you took in the best manager in the world and threw them into Barry's situation, things would be any better. I genuinely don't. I think a lot of them. I think Barry was just given a situation where it was almost a no lose. It was a no win situation for him. I don't think, because let's be honest, with all due respect, I don't think winning the Europa League was ever on the cards. It was a nice pipe dream, but I don't think it was seriously on the cards. The squad was struggling as it was, so trying to get to a final and B win it was, for me, pushing it. And there was nothing else to play for because obviously the cups were gone and the league was gone. So I think Barry was just put in an impossible situation. I think if we were even still in the Scottish Cup, I think we might have been able to get something more out of this squad. But the fact that when Barry came in, there was nothing to play for, I think the motivation out of all the players seemed to just drain away. So I don't think Barry was entirely to blame. I don't think he's to blame at all, to be honest, because he couldn't sign anybody. He was thrown in after the window. He was just basically given it was like giving a joiner a bunch of broken tools and told to get on with the job. It was just a no-win for Barry, and I think he did his best. As I say, he got a couple of good results. The Fenerbahce sort of tie, he got us through that. The Celtic game away, that was a memorable performance. But I'm afraid, other than that, it was. I just don't think the squad was up to it, and it's a horrible thing to say as a fan because you never want to say that, but you've just got to face reality, I'm afraid.
I'll be honest, I slightly disagree. Right, taking this point from multiple man, you really think Klopp or Guardiola or Ancelotti Senior wouldn't have done a better job than Barry? Now, taking that down a wee notch, because obviously we're not even after the takeover, we ain't getting a coach like that to come into Rangers, right? I think a better coach, a better manager, even coming in temporarily, probably do a better job overall than what Barry done. I don't know, however, Brian, how much difference in the long run it would have made, because I still don't think we probably get past Bilbao.
No.
And I think even if we get past Bilbao, we certainly don't get past Man U in Europe, because they've proven that in Europe they're actually decent as regards to what they are in the league, right? I don't think it would have made much difference in terms of winning things, but I think a better manager comes in and gets more out of the players. I do think that, and not at the time that Barry came in, I suppose, but there was maybe like a 1% chance, because let's face it, Celtic in terms of the league haven't been phenomenal. They've been good. They've been the best team by some distance. They've been the most consistent team by some distance, and you can maybe even argue that when they have to win, they win.
Yeah.
League Cup final, for example, they scrape along in penalties. If they had to win the Old Firm game that Barry managed at Parkhead, would they have won it? Don't know. Possibly could have. I don't know. But you can argue that when Celtic had to win, they won effectively. So I don't know how much difference a better or more experienced manager makes. But I do think there's a few things that Barry could have maybe done differently that maybe would have meant that he was maybe in the running for the job. But I think his inexperience kind of showed through.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only criticism you could throw at Barry is sometimes he said things would have to change, and then the team sheet would come out and it was exactly the same. I think some of his subs
in games as well. I think in games there were some tactical decisions that he made where you're thinking, no.
Yeah, I think in game as well there was some substitutions that happened, and you thought, don't quite see where you're coming from there. But again, as you say, his inexperience maybe just came to the fore there. As I say, I just think Barry was put in an impossible situation. I just don't think he was I just don't think he was given a great deck of cards to work with. So you're only as good as what you've got to use, I'm afraid. And too often this season, players have let managers. Well, over the last couple of years, players have let managers down. So I'm afraid it's just not. I just don't think a lot of the squad are good enough. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Barry, for everything that you've done for the football club that we all love and he loves. But we do move on, Brian, and we move on in the search of a new manager. loads and loads of rumours flying about everywhere. That the new manager will be announced shortly, will be announced long before the board have taken over, if you like, officially. All the talk is Steven Gerrard. That seems to be picking up pace again, Brian. That it's definitely going to be Stevie G's, had his meeting, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe anything anymore. I've been stung a few times now. I don't believe anything until it's officially done. But the Gers Gazette, channel member, would you take Gaza as the new manager? Give the club and Paul a new lease of life? Absolutely not. It would be eventful having Paul Gascoigne, the Gers Gazette, but absolutely not. But talking about Gaza, before we go on to who's going to be the next manager, he has come out, Paul Gascoigne, and said that he thinks that Jamie Vardy would be a fantastic fit for Rangers next season. Obviously, look, coming towards the end of his career, Brian, he just made it 200 goals for Leicester in his final game for them. If he was affordable for next season, would you?
I'll tell you what, it would certainly give the place a bit of a buzz, wouldn't it? A guy with his goal scoring record, I appreciate he's 38 years old. That's the only sticking point for me. But he was still doing a job in the EPL. So for me, if you're doing a job in the EPL, you can certainly do a job in the SPL. So I know age is just a number. We've had guys playing into their 40s, like David Weir, obviously slightly different situation. He was a defender. As Jack Roberts is saying, there's Vardy going to be the new Defoe? It's certainly an interesting one. I think a few weeks ago I was totally against it. But
it's budget-wise, Brian. I can't see. I can't work out in my head that Vardy, when he could probably make a lot more staying down south or going abroad, I don't see why he comes to Rangers for 35 grand a week.
No, and this is the thing that we've been caught short on in the past, is giving older guys big wages. That's what's cost us in the past, and we've been. How long have we been harping on this podcast that we don't want to start asking for that again? We've been asking for younger players, hungrier players on more, modest wages, because the wage budget for me is still astronomical. It's ridiculous. So although Vardy is a nice sort of idea, I don't think it fits in with the profile of what we're wanting to move on, is it?
No, I don't think so. Right, it's myself, Stuart, and Alan tonight at 7:30. Before that, Brian, at 6:30, we have our Monday night women's show. I can't imagine it's going to be a very happy one, Brian.
No, this is going to be an interesting one tonight. I think the guys and the girls are going to have quite a lot to say tonight, because that was a difficult one to swallow yesterday, that pill. All the buzz, all the excitement, getting the game to Ibrox, just shy of 6,000 people there. So all that, and you throw that into the mix, and then you had the videos of all the players saying, we're not going to let what happened a couple of years ago happen. And then, of course, it happened again. So very quickly,
Brian, is it possible? Joe Paul?
I think it's certainly going to be it'll certainly be in discussions now, because that's goal difference and losing. That's goal difference in last game of the season for I think 3 years in a row. We lost against Glasgow City at home a couple of years ago to lose the league. We lost in goal difference last year, and then this year we've lost again. So certainly questions are going to be asked of the manager. I think that's just natural, because obviously it's all very well beating the likes of Montrose and Dundee Uniteds in the double figures, but when you're coming up against the sort of title rivals in the cities and the Hibernians and that, you've got to get points off them. And I'm afraid our record against the upper echelons of the league simply hasn't been good enough. So it's going to be certainly discussed at length tonight at 6:30. So yeah, tune in at 6:30.
Make sure
It'll
you
be an
join.
extremely lively one.
Yes, and we shall. Look, we've not got time to talk about other managers or Leo Cameron. That will be done at 7:30 tonight. But multiple man has put in a comment that we're going to finish the show on, because this will also be discussed tonight, along with officiating in general in Scottish football. I hope you aren't ignoring the goal not given at the weekend. That deserves an afternoon rabble discussion. Yes, Bryan, it does.
Yes.
And I'm one that, look, I run this show on the premise that I don't like repeating myself, and I like to come up with fresh content. I don't like to discuss stuff that we've already discussed. Sometimes that's just not possible because we focus on Rangers and there's only so much that you can talk about, right? We did discuss this on the reaction. Bryan, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on it?
I think what I would say privately and what I would say publicly are two different things. So I'll be very careful what I say here. But there's
Are you in tow with Bomber Brown?
I'm in tow with. I'm now convinced. I'm kind of with John Brown on this now. There's something. I mean, the linesman was placed perfectly. He couldn't have been any. He was a yard from the flag in the corner. If you can't see a ball going in the goal from there, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be doing linesman. How did Hibs TV, who were showing the game, manage to show a clip or show an angle of where the ball was clearly over the line, but VAR couldn't conclusively say? I mean, come on. That doesn't wash with me, I'm afraid. That just doesn't wash with me now. That incident yesterday is extremely alarming for going forward now, because I wouldn't like to say this is a first. I would like to say this is the first time that this has happened, but unfortunately this season we've been on the end of some severely debatable decisions this year.
Yeah.
Not just ifs, buts, or maybes. Extremely debatable decisions, and I'm afraid the club released a statement. Fair enough, but I don't think they went hard enough. They could have went really, really hard enough.
They went harder on it. Yeah,
I don't think they went in hard enough, and I'm sorry. I'm afraid that incident yesterday for me was utterly scandalous.
it's like here's what it is for me. People know and are probably frustrated at my thoughts on refereeing and corruption in football, right? There's been over the decades and whatever centuries, I suppose. There's always been corruption in football, Bryan. There's been Spain, Italy, England, Scotland, wherever you look, there's been corruption in football, right? I look at the way that the referees make their decisions in Scotland, and I look at the way the decisions have went, and I've always said it's not corruption, it's just incompetence, right? And I'm still loath to call it corruption, but it's starting to get a bit beyond a joke. Now, the reason that I'm loathed to call it corruption is because I don't watch every minute of every game in Scotland. So I don't see every poor decision, every game-changing decision from every game in Scotland. I don't see Celtic every week. So I don't know what happens with them. I don't know the decisions that go for them or go against them, right? I just don't know. And to add to that, if I was running something with the purposes of making it for one club or to bring corruption into somewhere, I would be smart about it, right? And I would make the corruption only happen when it was absolutely necessary. For me, if there's corruption against Rangers, there is absolutely no need to not give that goal against Hibs. Whether we won 10-0, 20-0, 30-0 at the weekend, it made absolutely no difference to anything in Scottish football. It made no difference to anything. That's where my brain goes. If there is corruption, they can't be stupid to do it when it doesn't matter. But Bryan, I'm starting to move now and go, This has happened far too often. It's happened far too much to us this season.
I think if it was an isolated incident, Martin, you could call it a horrendous mistake. You could call it that. You could be honest and say, look, they've made a mistake. It's that's horrendous. But it's the fact that you could look back over half a dozen incidents that have happened this season alone. You could probably say that have been extremely dubious, to say the least. As I say, I'm trying to be very polite here when I say it. I don't want to say something silly, but it's very yeah. I'm trying to be careful. I'm trying not to say anything silly.
Suspicious, Bryan. I think the word you're looking for is suspicious.
It is, yes. And that yesterday for me was the icing on the cake. That was for me just that is the worst, one of the worst decisions I think I've ever seen given. And the fact that we've had, I think somebody said in the comments, we've had 2 penalties this year. Only 2.
Yeah. And also about that decision as well, and the bit that they can't get away from, if they thought it was a foul on Rocky Bashiri, right, they can't wave play on because the ball's went out of play. So it has to come back for a free kick.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't use that as an excuse as, or maybe it was a foul. Because if it was a foul, they would have had to have given the foul and then play. They couldn't play on because the ball's went out of play. So I don't understand how a VAR room can't see that that's went in. Even with the crappy angles that we've got in Scottish football, they can see that that's crossed the line.
Yes.
They can see that that's crossed the line. And it'll be interesting to see what happens to John Brown now.
Well,
because Rangers TV suspiciously went a bit loopy after that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that annoys a lot of people is VAR was meant to come in to stop all these dodgy decisions and all these ifs and buts. Because let's be honest, VAR's meant to be black or white. It's either a goal, it's either offside, or they aren't. And I'm afraid VAR this season have been sadly fallen short. I mean, the Diamandi red card at Dundee United, for example, there was another one. Horrendous decision. VAR tried to tell the referee, but unfortunately, the same referee who was involved yesterday decided to try and make it an issue of it and sent Diamandi off. Although it got overturned, and we won the game at Dundee United. I think Nick Walsh will find himself and VAR very lucky that game yesterday wasn't riding on anything. Because I'll tell you what, see if that was riding on something the last day of the season and that decision happened, it'd be beggars belief what could have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, folks, we'll leave it there. Like I say, we're back at 6:30 and 7:30, where we'll no doubt be discussing that incident in a lot more detail as well, and we'll be discussing, Rangers' end to the season. What I can't get my words out today. What we are doing moving forward. Martin, speak English. Come on. But I can't speak, and Bryan can't work a computer. It's been a great day. Listen, thank you for all the support over the season. It's phenomenal. Please keep helping to support the show and channel as much as you can. Keep those likes coming in. Keep sharing the videos. And, of course, make sure that you are subscribed. And if you want to help the channel out a little bit further, check out the merchandise that we've got. Links in the description to our Arlo website. And, of course, if you spend £50 or more, email confirmation of that to raboisland@gmail.com. Then you are in the hat to win a PS5. And also, if you don't want to buy stuff, but you still want to support, then you can become a member. Again, links are in the description for that. For as little as $1.99 a month, you can really, really help us out. So that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Bryan, my friend, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's nice, this usual Monday slot we've got. It's nice.
Yes, when your computer's working, it's lovely.
Yes. It is, yeah.
There'll be people that will be listening back on audio that probably didn't hear the rest of the show after your little computer mishap. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in live. Like, share, and subscribe, folks. Thank you to everybody listening back on all the audio platforms and our Patreon subscribers as well. Thank you so much for the support, folks. and we shall speak very, very soon.